Good morning and happy Memorial Day. I want to thank our veterans and recognize the men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms in this country. I want to thank God for them and thank their families on this Memorial Day holiday. This is our first daily devotion, The Word with Wells, on Monday, the 24th of May. And I've been doing a lot of reading this morning. If you know me, you will know that I really enjoy the Old Testament. I spent some time in 2 Kings this morning, looking at Elijah being taken away by the Lord, Elisha receiving the mantle of the prophet, and several great stories that took place under the prophet Elisha. One, namely, that of the story of Naaman. It's a great story about vision, about seeing God at work, seeing God move, seeing God reveal and expose himself, reveal his power, reveal his hand, and God's protection and his ability to fight for us. Over in 2 Kings chapter 6 is where we observe Israel being under attack by the king of Syria. Let me read it for you so that you can have some context for the key verse that I want to spend some time with this morning. It says in chapter 6 of 2 Kings, verse 8, it says, "Once when the king of Syria was warring against Israel, he took counsel with his servants, saying, at such and such a place shall be my camp." Verse 9, "But the man of God sent word to the king of Israel, beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are going down there." So here's what's happening. Elisha is obviously on Israel's side, but the king of Syria was planning an attack against Israel. And because Elisha was a true prophet, God told him what the Syrians were about to do, and Elisha told the king of Israel to beware, not to go that way. Verse 10, "And the king of Israel sent to the place about which the man of God told him," basically sent a scout out. "Thus he used to warn him, so that he saved himself there more than once or twice." So in other words, the king sent out a scout to see of what Elisha had prophesied and warned them about, if it were true. The text basically says that it was found to be true more than once or twice. Verse 11, "And the mind of the king of Syria was greatly troubled because of this thing," because Elisha was basically receiving this information, this divine information about the king of Syria and their attempts to attack Israel. And it says that he was greatly troubled because of this. And so he called his servants and said to them, "Will you not show me who of us is for the king of Israel?" So the king of Syria is saying, wait a minute, there's somebody that's on our side that's sharing information with the king of Israel. But look at what they say. "And one of the servants says, 'None, my lord, no one on our side, O king, but Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedroom. And he said, go and see where he is. In other words, go and get Elisha, that I may send and seize him. It was told him, behold, he is in Dothan. So he sent there horses and chariots and a great army, and they came by night and surrounded the city. So king of Syria says, fine, I want Elisha captured. I want him brought to me. I want him seized and brought to me. Verse 15. When the servant of the man of God rose early in the morning and went out, behold, an army with horses and chariots was all around the city. And the servant said, alas, my master, what shall we do? So Elisha's servant gets up, goes outside, is in shock. All around the city is covered with horses and chariots. Basically, Elisha is surrounded. So he says, what shall we do? Verse 16, Elisha says, do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Elisha prayed and said, O Lord, please open his eyes, the eyes of his servant. Please open his eyes that he may see. So the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. And when the Syrians came down against him, Elisha prayed to the Lord and said, please strike this people with blindness. So the Lord, struck them with blindness in accordance with the prayer of Elisha. And Elisha said to them, this is not the way, and this is not the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. And he led them to Samaria. So essentially, Elisha prays. He prays that his servant's eyes would be open. His servant sees that beyond what he can see with the Syrian army, God's army was also there. Chariots of fire surrounding this army. And so oftentimes we miss God's presence because we're so busy seeing the enemy. We miss what God is doing because we're so busy and so focused and so concerned on what Satan is doing. I talked a little bit about this during our message on Sunday. God, we want to have eyes that even in the midst of trouble, even in the midst of trial, even in the midst of pain, even in the midst of fear, God, we want to see you. We want to see Christ in our crisis. And that's really what our series is about as we talk about being on this investigative adventure, this quest to draw closer to God, to see God clearer. This is really an example of that. God, we want to have spiritual eyes, even in the midst of this pandemic, even while there's so much confusion about what churches should or should not do. God, would you give us spiritual eyes? And I'm praying for you today, that for your family and for your finances and for your church and for your congregation, pastors, and for the people of God, that we would have spiritual eyes that we would see. I want to pray for us today as we start this week. And I want to encourage you to trust the Lord that He is, that those who are with us are more than those who are with them. And so we want to trust God today. I pray that you have a blessed Monday and a great rest of the week. And go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, New Birth Church Marietta. And you'll receive my daily devotions every day, Monday through Friday. God bless you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.